I'm gonna be standing outside the banks.
I just want to lay there. I didn't want to do any work. If the boats are rocking, don't come and knock it.
You know what I mean? Of course you know what I mean.
You're a real lesbian.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Madam House. I'm Sarah Problem.
I am Esmeralda Vergara.
I'm Cantina.
And we are the
Tea Queens.
Welcome to Madam House.
We are back. Another episode.
We're back. Can you believe it?
I can't.
Nope, I can't.
Okay.
I'm shocked.
Today, we have a very, 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 very special guest.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
My name is Angelica Del Real. And very happy to be here. I'm very happy that you invited me as your lesbian guest.
Yes. We need a little bit of lesbian in our lives.
Yes.
I love it. So, when did you first feel like you identified as lesbian? Or was there a certain point? Or how did you come to terms with being a lesbian?
I knew since I was 10 years old that I like girls. And I kept it to myself, of course. And I remember liking it and playing doctor with the friends and my sister's friends. And I felt like sometimes the girls were like, why did she always want to be the doctor? Duh.
Mm-hmm.
So
I always wanted to be the patient. Myself. I just want to lay there. I didn't want to do any work. I'm still that way, by the way.
Yeah.
And I knew at a very young age. And I remember telling my sister that I like girls. And she didn't take it very well. She was like, oh my God, I think we have to tell my parents, take you to the doctor. What's wrong with you?
No.
So I did feel a little bit like, no, I was just kidding, you know?
Is your sister older than you?
Younger.
Oh, younger sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only two of us, only two sisters. So I was so afraid that she would tell my parents. And after that, I think she just kind of understood me, you know, because I hated wearing fucking dresses. My mom always tried to put a dress, put heels. I was like, nope. I like
Smart.
my pants. Yeah. So I think my parents also knew. I think my mom knew. But once she started to see that I never had boyfriends, it was always girlfriends. You always felt the pressure that she wanted me to change, you know, like, you know, when you get married and you meet a nice young man, I'm like, God,
When you have kids.
yes, I just wanted to say, God, Mom, I'm a lesbian, but you couldn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know, a lot of young girls, especially, they go through a phase where they're tomboys. Now, how did you know? Because I have a lot of friends that they're straight girls, they're cisgender girls.
Yeah.
And they say, I went through a tomboy phase too. So how did you know that you weren't just going through the tomboy phase and that you were actually, because when you're younger, you really don't have sexual attractions. Maybe you have a crush.
You have crushes.
Or maybe when you're talking to your friends and they're talking about boys, how cute boys are, you're like, I just don't get it. You know?
That was me. Yeah. And I think that as I got older, I knew I've always liked girls. Boys never really did it for me. It was always girls. And I remember being in high school when I felt the pressure of like, why don't you have a boyfriend? So I remember that I started dating this young guy. They called him Popcorn because he had this afro. And I remember dating him, and he always had this like big gunk of bubble gum.
Ooh.
And he always wanted to kiss me in the morning when we took the school bus. And I was like, oh my God, like, I don't want to be with this dude. And I found every excuse in the book not to kiss him. I never did. I broke up with him.
Good.
And he was sad.
Popcorn, call me.
So after that, you just know it. There's no explanation for it. You just know in your heart that you are attractive to women.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, well, a lot of girls and anybody, their first relationships are your friendships. It's like you do a practice relationship with your friends. And a lot of girls have a very close best friend that, you know, you treat them almost like they're your spouse.
Yeah.
And you're close with them. And, you know, even boys have best friends too. But
I feel like gay boys normally have girlfriends growing up, right? Because we want to borrow their stuff. We want to play with their dolls.
Well,
Right?
I think that at least for myself, like I had a best friend that was a guy, and I totally had a crush on him, but you know he didn't know that I felt that way. But I think when you know that you're attracted to the same sex, you probably feel like there's something more for you, and maybe the other person it's not, but you're willing to kind of risk it. Did you do that with your?
Yes. There was a time when I had this tremendous crush on this girl, and I remember I wrote her a letter, and she rejected me. She said, "I can help you get through this."
Oh no.
And I felt not ashamed, but I felt embarrassed. Like, oh my God, everybody's gonna know. So I almost walked around like saying, okay, did she tell somebody?
Yeah.
What are they gonna think of? Because it was at that time, it was the 80s. It was still like not open like now. You know, it was always like, oh, he's a faggot. Oh, she's a dyke. That was the thing back then.
Right.
So I was always scared that I was gonna be like, oh, there goes a lesbian or there goes a dyke. I never
Like
I
the
never
judgment.
yeah, like I never understand why somebody would say that's a dyke. You know, I always thought that word to be so offensive.
Yeah.
At least to me as a lesbian woman, as a gay woman. It's a lesbian and a gay woman. But like a dyke, I'm like, I don't get that part.
Yeah.
And even now I'm like, what's a dyke? Like
Yeah.
someone that's
It's
really
very
manly?
derogatory.
Yes. And sometimes I would hear somebody say, look at that faggot. It would irk me.
Yeah.
I would say, why do you say those words? I can say it. I'll say, you fag, my friend. But because it's my friend, I'm gay. I'm allowed to say that. That's how we get along in our group. But for somebody to say, look at that fag, they mean it in a cruel way.
Right. The
And I
intent.
hate that.
The
It
intention
just,
behind it.
yes, there's an intention to it. That's what bothers me. And now my sister now that she discovered me and she just started hanging around with my friends, she even had like 2 lesbian affairs.
Yeah.
And she was like, I can see how women fall for women because it's so different from dating men.
Right.
But she still dates men. She goes, I like men. I love men.
Does she identify as heterosexual or bisexual?
Heterosexual.
Yeah.
She said she was just exploring.
Well, you know what's interesting about that too
Yeah.
is that a lot of women, they start out with having a husband or being in love with a guy, and then the lesbian relationship comes after they've had kids and whatnot. And I think that's where we were looking up some facts about it. And lesbian women a lot of times can have like a spiritual relationship with someone. They can have a sexual, they can have an emotional relationship with someone, and it can be a fulfilling relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be completely like hot sex, like gay men.
Exactly.
A lot of it is just
Just
hot sex.
yeah.
Sex.
We don't think about anything else.
You know, a side note, I love the way you say your name too. Angelica.
Angelica.
Del Real.
I love that. Where did your family come from?
Mexico?
From Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yes.
Esmeralda here also has roots other places, and in the Latinx community, do you feel that there is more judgment for being
Yes.
lesbian? And why is that?
I don't know. I guess it's your upbringing. I guess it's just Hispanic families expect their daughters to get married, expect their sons to get married. I think that in some households, they're so scared to say, Mom, I'm attracted to men, or Mom, I like women, because you're not going to get that welcome, like, I love you no matter what. So even now, my mom knows I'm a lesbian. She knows that I have girlfriends. She knows my lifestyle, but she never talks about it. And she's like, okay, mija. And my dad's more like, okay, what's going on? Okay. He's more open to it, but it's not like they don't have a parade about it,
Right.
But
Did you tell your mother directly that you were
Yes.
lesbian?
I
And
said,
how
Mom, I told her, maybe not so serious, but I told her in a jokingly way. I said, Mom, I'm never going to walk down the fucking aisle with a white dress. I was pissed off. I said, I'm a lesbian. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with women.
How old were you when you did that?
Oh my God. I was like probably 30 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
Like
And,
to really say it to
Yeah.
her, because I
Yeah.
respected her. And I'm like, I didn't want to almost hurt her feelings,
Yeah.
but I had to.
Mm-hmm.
was she disappointed
Yes.
because she wouldn't have the dream?
Yeah.
I think for
Well-
the most part with Latino parents and family, they are afraid of what the other family members are gonna say, what their sister is gonna say about their child. And that's why a lot of our parents are scared to accept who we are, because they're just worried.
Yeah.
Well,
Or
I think-
what other people will think. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is also based in like Catholicism as well, right?
Mhm.
Like that's
The
a huge part of
religion.
the Latin community or
yeah.
Latinx community, sorry. And I know just from speaking to certain gay men, I know that that's a huge part of it, is like they're kind of ostracized based on their parents' strict kind of conservative Catholicism like views.
Now, are there some lesbians that still like a penis, or is that pretty much?
I think they all do.
Well, me as a lesbian, I like the strap on. I like my dildos.
Yes.
I like my partner to wear it. I like to wear it. A lot of straight women, I have a lot of straight women friends that say, well, if you wear a strap on, a dildo, why can't you just be with a man? I say, because it's different.
Right.
Because in the process of that, she can just take off the dildo, the strap on, and that's it. She's a woman.
Yeah.
And with a man, it's just different.
Right. It
And they're
doesn't
like,
represent
but
the
yes,
male. It represents
they don't get that.
a form of penetration for you to experience their
Right.
femininity.
They don't understand that. And some women will say, oh, God, I could never let a woman go down on me. And I always ask, well, does your husband go down on me? Yeah, occasionally. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so at that point, you just kind of respect their opinion. But sometimes I'm like, oh, God, you know, because I have my own beliefs, you know, and I'm very proud of being a lesbian and being a gay woman. And I'm so proud that we've gotten this far, that we have rights, because it was very sad many, many years ago where we didn't have nothing. It was almost like if you told somebody you were gay, okay, we're going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
Okay, why are you here? You know, so when AIDS came out, same thing. It was like, we should put them all in an island and burn them. Why would you say something mean?
Yeah.
You know, so those are the things that have given me the knowledge. And my sister, she's my biggest fan. She will defend any, if we're having dinner and somebody says the wrong thing, she's like, what? Excuse me? She'll snap.
Good.
Because she's like, they're people.
Was
They're
she always that way?
Always, except when I told her when I was 10, she goes, I didn't understand. She goes, I thought something was wrong with you. And you know how my parents always said that being in Espanol, in our Hispanic, it was always marimacha.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh God, what an awful
I don't
word.
like that word.
What does that
hate
mean?
it.
What does that mean?
Like dyke, like
yeah.
manly. And I don't want a daughter que sea marimacha. And I'm like, what the fuck is marimacha? Who even invented the word?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm a marimacha, you know? But it was always that disappointment, you know, that your mom would say,
Yeah.
God, there she goes with her best friend.
So, at what point did your mother come around?
Pro-
She doesn't talk about it.
She doesn't talk about it. When I moved in with my first girlfriend, I was in my 30s. That was the very first time I lived with someone. She knew, and she said, okay, I have to accept it. Because I said, I'm moving out, and if you don't want to be part of my life, if you don't want to come over, it's your decision, but I would love for you to be part of it. And it was hard for her to understand. It was like, until this day, I think she still struggles with it, you know? And I'm like,
Yeah.
she's just very stubborn. She's set in her own ways, you know?
Where do you get your strength from? Like, you're such a strong.
My father, he's like my biggest fan. He's like, he said, as long as you're happy and you're healthy and you love everyone equal and you're kind without expecting anything back, be humble, appreciate life, help others. He always tells me, help others without expecting anything. And he's just a wonderful man. All my friends, all my gay guy friends are like, oh my God, your dad's such a hottie. And I'm like, God.
Damn. We need him in the podcast.
Yeah, what's he
He's such
doing
a
later?
hottie. And he would just laugh. He's like, I go, Dad, I think he's flirting with you.
Yeah.
It's okay. It doesn't bother me. So he's just different from my mom, you know. But my mom is friendly in that circle of friends when it has nothing to do with me. Like, you know what I mean? She'll be surrounded by, let's say she goes to someone's house and their son is gay. She's okay with that. But when it comes to me, she's not okay with it.
Of course.
So I'm like,
Because
You
once
know?
again, we go back to
what people think.
How is my
Exactly.
family like falling apart, quote unquote.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about just you being you. And I was actually super excited to have you on the podcast, and I'm so grateful that you took your time to be here with us and to do this with us. As a Latina, lesbian woman in another country, trying to fight for your rights and for what you believe on and what you think is right, is just amazing. And that's why I was super overwhelmed and super excited to have you here with us today.
I'm excited, and I'm so happy that you invited me to be part of this, because I think that there's still many young people out there that still have a hard time coming out, that hide their feelings. What is my dad going to think? What is my mom going to think? But it's so advanced now, with us, with our schools. My niece goes to a school where they totally support that. They have a group, and she loves it. And I love that. And this is a Catholic school.
Cute.
So I love that they have that. And since she was, I can remember 3, love is love. So she's been around gay people and she loves it. She's never said anything negative. She's not like, oh my God, why are they? Never. She's just, I love that she's open to that, And I think the other day, I shouldn't even say this because she didn't even tell her mom. She told me, she said, she calls me Ina because I'm her madrina. So when she was little, she would say, Ina. So she still calls me Ina. So she said, at one point, I felt like I had a crush on somebody in high school. She's a freshman. So I said, it's okay, baby. If you have a crush, we all go through it. If you have a crush on a girl, on a boy, it's okay. Okay, don't tell my mommy, okay? I'm going to tell you because I know you would understand. Absolutely, baby. What's her name? Lana. Ooh. And she goes, but I'm kind of over it now. I said, good. No commitments.
Is Lana a tea queen?
So at that point, I looked at her and I'm like, I was not proud of her, but I was so, I was proud of her because she was so open to me. She felt comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, and I told her, Mommy loves you no matter what. And when you feel comfortable telling her, she's your best friend. So don't hide those things because she'll be your biggest fan. Okay, Ina, but I'm still not ready. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And I feel like it's not about, coming out. It's not about like, that's such a weird thing now to say, like, are you out? Are you not out? Like, I feel like we're all humans, and whoever wants to try something, whoever wants to love another person, there is no reason to even be out or come out, or we're all the same humans, and that's it. We just need to love one another.
And you know what's so sad? When you're 60 or 70 and you wasted so many years of your life because you were so afraid of your family to accept you, and you're left with nothing. I remember being 20 years old and I met this woman and she was 40. And we became friends, and one night we had a little too much vino and one thing led to another, and we started a relationship. And everyone would question it, like, why are you hanging around with that 20-year-old? She's just a teenager. Why are you hanging around with that older woman? What is she doing to you? What isn't she doing?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Is that what's gonna happen tonight after this glass of wine?
So we were together for almost 2 years, and yes, I broke her heart. Shame on me, but I had a good excuse. I was young.
Yeah,
it was just starting. So I remember her ending up dating her sister's secretary. And she ended up dating her, and they were together for about 4 or 5 years, but she never opened up to her family. And her sister said it straight out, if I don't want to know your life. And I think now she doesn't even speak to her, doesn't speak to the brother, because the brother just came out, doesn't speak to them. She's totally against you being gay. And she's now in her, I'm 53. I could say that I'm 53. She's probably 73, and she's completely alone.
And her brother just came out?
And her brother lives with her boyfriend, his boyfriend in his home, and she's there. And I'm like, it's so sad because she never came out.
They all live in the same home?
Yes.
That's the hardest.
Their mom passed away, so they ended up staying in that home together. But I always, and she told me once, I wish that I could go back and change because everybody moved on and lived their life except me. And now she said, I missed out on dating women, on going out. And it broke my heart because I'm like, oh my God, I thank God that I'm not like that I came out and that I'm proud of. I don't like, oh, I'm gay, I'm a lesbian.
Right.
Obviously, if you meet me, you're going to say, oh, she's gay. So my school knows I'm gay and they respect me 100%, which I love.
Yeah.
So it's just sad. And those stories is what makes me sad because you lost so many years of your life afraid of getting your family's approval when they're never going to give you their approval.
Yeah.
Right. Some people struggle with it their whole life and they still never get that approval. And, you know, I think having the support, it's so wonderful that you support younger people in your family and in your life and are there for them. When you were younger, where did you find support? Who supported you in a time when, you know, there wasn't much support for being different?
Nobody. I just kept it all to myself. And as I got older and I did play for the softball team, we were called the Streamers. And I confided in my coaches because there were a couple. So they're the ones that I think taught me to be strong, to be open, that it's okay to be gay. So that's where I kind of started to open and be more confident, you know, to come out and not be embarrassed or what people were going to say. So I think those are two, which I actually had an affair with both of them.
Oh, the tea comes out.
You know what? It just happened.
I'm afraid tonight she's gonna have something with the three of us.
Oh my God. No. Well, on that note, we're going to take a break real quick and we'll be right back after this message.
Bye.
Serve responsibly. Don't drink and drive. Drink some water. After you buy all the vodka.
Order your Serve vodka now.
And we're back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Oh, I do have to share with you when I was 7, I think I was probably, around 18. I was growing up. I was still in high school. I worked for this clothing store as a part-time job on weekends in downtown. And there was this young guy. He was the brother of the owner of the store. His name was Harry. And he had a crush on me because I used to wear cute little tennis skirts because I used to play tennis
I
too.
bet you're a hot number.
And he was
Still are.
like, I'm going to take Angelica so she can go with me to the bank. This is what he said. He was cute. I can see a man and say he's cute. He's handsome.
Okay.
So he said, let's go to the bank. And I said, okay.
So he
I
could
was-
make a deposit.
Yes. And I was innocent.
And
you
that
know,
deposit
I'm
was zero.
super young. I'm cute. My hair's flawless. I'm just this cute little girl, you know,
Yeah.
cute kid. So we pulled over. He pulls over and I'm like, what are we doing? And he goes, oh, God, you turn me on just by looking at you. So he takes my hand. Of course, I'm innocent at that point. I'm like, what is he doing? He takes my hand. He puts it on his,
Crush.
can I say dick or cock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His
Whatever
dick.
you want.
And it was such, it felt like a bat, like a baseball bat. And I was like, oh, God. And he started kissing me, you know, and I was like, oh, what do I do, you know? And his tongue was in my ear. I'm like, oh, God, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think we should go back. So we went back and it was like nothing. He's
Did he
like-
respect that? Did he stop?
He stopped. He said, okay, yeah, you're right. I got carried away. And he's married. He has 2 kids. No, he had 1 kid and the other one on the way. So I was innocent.
And then he broke up with his wife
No,
because of
he
you.
didn't. He didn't. He didn't. He was stalking me. He knew where I lived, so he would go, come out, and I was like, I had to quit because I didn't feel comfortable. But I think that was the very first time when I felt that someone kissed me.
Demands.
He never kissed me on my mouth. It was my ear because I was like, kind of like, oh my God. Like,
Right.
I just,
Yeah.
it wasn't. And when I touched his, I was like, oh my God. Like, I couldn't believe at that age that it was so hard. Like it was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of course you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I
Of course.
don't. What do you mean?
One person's tragedy is another person's fantasy.
From now on, I'm gonna be standing outside the banks.
Of course they know what I mean. So anyway, so that was the very first time that I experienced like being with a man. It wasn't really being with a man, but
Right.
I felt what it was to be with a male.
What a horrible
And I
experience.
thought, oh
too.
God, that's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the very first and last. Yeah.
And so you-
but I can see how some men can manipulate young girls, you know?
Yeah,
I bet
and
a lot
also,
of-
yeah, they do that with young
Yeah.
females, and they
Yeah.
also do that with men too. Like a lot of, older people or men, they just want to abuse of a child.
And so you were 17 at that point, and he was like
Yeah.
a manager.
Mhm.
He
Yeah,
was like
he
your
was-
manager.
he was like the
He
manager.
and he was
Yeah.
like what, in 30s, 40s?
He's like in his probably like 33.
Yeah.
And then that same day, his wife walks in with the stroller and she has a big old belly
Wow.
because she's pregnant. And I'm like, oh God. And his wife was beautiful. And I'm like,
Of course, you were like, I wish it was the wife touching me.
and, and I thought, God, men, But at that
God,
point,
men.
it was just something that I wanted to share because it does happen.
I bet there's a lot
happens.
of young girls and young boys,
Yes.
like Esmeralda said, that go through that, and that's a horrible thing. And what would your advice be for somebody that goes through something like that?
No is no. And if you're not comfortable with it, you walk away.
You walk
And that's
away.
it. You don't let it happen again because to me, is no is no.
Right. I tell my daughter, kick them in the crotch. Kick them in the crotch if they don't back away.
Yeah. So I even left the job, but it's not a very nice feeling. Or even to go to your parents and say, this guy took me to the bank and he tried to kiss me. My dad would probably kill him.
Yeah.
My dad's like, what? Hijo de la chinga, in Spanish. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But at that point you would think, no is no. But I can see in that moment when someone's not strong and they're vulnerable and maybe just have issues, they could really fall into that easily.
Mm-hmm.
But
So do you know how many, what percentage of women are lesbian?
I know.
You do?
it's hard to say now.
20. They're everywhere.
That would be ideal.
I think there's a good percentage of lesbians out there, and I think there's a good percentage of women that are bisexual and that are married and do have affairs. I've had affairs with married women. It's not a good feeling because you're like the third. You're like the woman who gives her pleasure because she's not having enough with her husband. You're giving her something that her husband's not giving her.
Right.
At the end of the day, and either they realize this is not for me, this marriage thing, and they just find themselves, or they say, okay, it was fun and all, but yeah, I'm married, I have to stick to my life.
Yeah.
So it's a 50-50, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are happily married or married and experience all sorts of relationships with women.
So yeah, a lot of people do it for like the fantasy of wanting to have something on the side.
And there's a good percentage of men too.
Oh,
There's
good
a high percentage of men that are married, that have
Straight,
the kids,
gay.
but they love to be intimate with men and they love to enjoy men's company.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch The L Word?
Yes.
Do you remember the character on there that was a guy that identified as a lesbian because he liked girls?
Oh yes.
There was a
What
guy on there.
What was his name?
I don't know. That's tough trivia for me. But the guy he identified as lesbian. So what do you think about men that identify as lesbian?
I have mixed feelings about that. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I have a hard time understanding that.
Yeah,
I really do. I'm like,
that doesn't make
oh,
sense.
okay. So even though I'm a lesbian and I'm a gay woman, I still have trouble understanding certain things still, when
right.
someone tells me something or I hear something, I'm like, how is that possible? Like, what are they going through? What are they feeling? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know how they feel because that's not me,
Right.
I'm a woman and I love being a woman and I love being a lesbian.
Yeah, and you are a fantastic lesbian. You are one of the best ones I've met.
You're a real lesbian.
You are a real lesbian, and we've really enjoyed all that you've had to say and all of your stories. Some juicy stories, huh?
You said you currently work in a school, and in what capacity do you work in this school as, and what kind of age range is it?
Kindergarten through 5th grade. It's an elementary school.
So are you seeing a lot of
Yes.
like identity and everything within the school, and how is the school
Yes.
kind of handling that?
And I feel like some parents are very supportive and some parents are not. Like you can tell those boys that are going to be gay because of the way they you just know. You just know. And you see a lot of girls. We have quite a few girls that do not wear dresses, and that right away you say, I like pants. And the parents are like, she's just likes to wear pants. And, I think, she's trying to figure herself out. I said, you don't have to explain. She can wear pants. She can wear the boys' uniforms. If the boy wants to wear a skirt, he can wear a skirt too. We're not going to discriminate.
That's amazing.
So our school is very open to that because our former principal, Adam Warren, hello, Adam, he was 100% gay. And he was just married. He always talked about his husband, and he was just so open, and all the parents loved him because he had such an amazing character in his personality, and he supported that 100%. I remember one day he saw this student, I won't say his name, and he was so flamboyant, and hi, Mr. Warren, hi, Miss Angelica, Miss Del Real. I'm like, hi. And then I remember Warren saying, oh, God, he's going to be so gay. I just don't want him to come out till he's like 30. We're not ready for him. So it was just cute the way he would say, but we were so open to them being gay. And we support that 100%. I always say my girlfriend, and I remember I did Girls on the Run on Sunday. And I remember telling the girls, yeah, my girlfriend bought me this. And they were like, oh, Miss, you have a girlfriend? I'm like, yeah. Oh, how sweet. And some of them were like, oh, you mean you have a girlfriend? I'm like, yes. And Miss Santana, coach, she's a coworker of mine, said yes. And there's nothing wrong with her having a wife, a fiance, a girlfriend, as long as they love each other.
Period.
And they were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm never gonna hide anything, not even with the students.
What a wonderful world you're helping to create. That's
Yeah,
really
it
amazing.
100%.
No, that is.
Yeah.
It's completely different than
Before.
Than what we
grew up in.
experienced.
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you find any of
Amazing.
do any of the kids receive any flack from the other kids, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of kids that'll name call some boys, but I want to right away pull them in the office and say, what's going on? Tell me why are we calling each other names? What's bothering you? What is he doing to you that bothers you? Why are you saying those names?
Yeah.
And I think Mr. Warren was a big, he was just one of those gentlemen that said, we will not call anybody by those names.
Lead by example and lead by love.
Exactly.
I think it's a leader's love for
Yes,
other people
yes.
that shows other people how to act.
Yes, and even now, it's more open. We have more staff that are gay. Our attendance a clerk, she's engaged. She's gay. We have a staff that's gay. Her fiance works across the street in our middle school. So I love that we're a community and we help each other.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when we know someone's gay, I always say, "Oh, she's already in. She's on our whatever she wants, whatever she wants." So we help each other, And I think that this young lady looks at me and she's like, "Oh, great, you're gay. Like I don't have to." And I love the fact that she's so open about it. Oh yeah, my fiance. She's so proud of it at such a young age.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, God, I wish that when I was her age, I could have had that same confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so open now.
Right.
And she's proud of it. And I love it.
Amazing.
I love it.
Do you believe in marriage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you ever want to be married to
To a tea queen.
Esmeralda? Leave the girls
Esmeralda's
alone.
coming on
You already-
top tonight.
You already got the boys on
Hey,
lock. Leave the girls alone.
I will take whatever.
Exactly.
Oh, we know.
Truer
long as they
words
put a
have
ring
never
on
been
me.
spoken.
Find a ring, put it
Truer
on.
words.
I don't care your race, your
Well,
color, anything.
If
Well,
they're
let me-
breathing,
Let me turn
she's
this
down.
around. Do you believe in marriage?
Do I believe it?
Yeah.
I completely believe in marriage, and I think that we fought for the right, but I don't think that it has to be for everyone in this day and age. But I think there's reasons for marriage. That's a very good question. That would be a whole podcast in and of itself.
This is what I feel. I feel that if you live with your girlfriend, you're already married. You're in love with each other. You have this family, this life. But I think that if you get married, she has rights to your. To me, it's about benefits, because if I'm in my dying bed, I want my wife to come in there.
Yeah.
I want my wife to have my benefits. I want my wife to be taken care of. Because if you're not married, she doesn't have rights.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it. So if you have a foundation and you have something built with them, you have to get married. You want to be married.
I just want cheaper car insurance.
That's my personal opinion, but
Of course.
I don't know.
Well, things are changing, and hopefully things change on our favor.
Yeah.
And hopefully the new generation change things for our
and
best,
they are.
for our
They
future.
are changing.
They
it.
are.
They are. So, do we have any other questions? Anything else to mention?
Yes. What would you tell that young lesbian teenager girl that is looking out for somebody to just be there for her and support her? And what would you tell somebody at a young age? What would you tell yourself when you were 10, when you first discovered that you were a lesbian?
If you could go back in time, what's the crowning advice you would give?
To tell someone, to tell your parents, to really sit down with them and say, this is how I feel. Whether they cry, whether they say, I'm going to take you to the doctor, it doesn't matter, but voice it out. And then let them deal with it and be happy with who you are. Because you're not the only one out there, and be you. Don't try to be what people want you to be. And always tell your parents. I think if I would go back, I would tell my mom how I felt, whether she liked it or not, at a very early age. So by the time I hit 20 or 30 or 18, she would already know, and she heard it from my voice. I didn't need to prove to her or, give her bits and parts here and there. It would just be a full conversation. That's what I would do different.
Yeah.
Well, I am so proud of you. Thank you for being here today as our lesbian guest. Or Latina lesbian guest.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do. And thank you for inspiring the community.
Thank you, ladies, for having me on your podcast.
Thank
you, Angelica.
See you guys next
We love you.
Thank you. Thank
See
you
you
very
next
much.
time.